Weakness to warrior mindset. Topic of the day today is when you want to quit. When you want to quit. Why do most people want to quit things? Because it's too damn hard. And it's too difficult. And you've never been faced with adversity. You've never pushed yourself to the limit to where you can't go on anymore. And you've dug down deep. I talk about this quitting thing because as I run my 5Ks, I've noticed that this little voice pops up in the side of my head. And it tells me, maybe we should just slow down. Maybe we should just stop. Hey, maybe we should just do a 3K instead of a 5K. Maybe we should just run. I mean, it's a lot of work. And that's where you have to master yourself. That's where you have to master your mind. Like when your mind starts talking to you, do you listen? I mean, who's really in control? You or your mind? Like, there was this dude that I saw on there on the video. He was talking about the same sort of thing as far as like when he runs, this little voice pops up inside his head and says, maybe we should quit. Or maybe we should do only half the race or something like that. And he talks back to that fucking voice and he says, listen, motherfucker, you want to do a 10K at twice the fucking speed? You want to run a fucking marathon? Dragging a fucking pack or something with a 50-pound pack on? Then shut the fuck up, because I'm in charge. You got to have that conversation with yourself. You got to let that voice inside your head know that you're in charge, not it. That's where a lot of people go wrong. They start to listen to that voice inside their head, that doubt, the doubt that creeps up, that inner child that wants to speak out. That's just weakness talking. You have to be able to overcome that weakness. Train your mind, overcome your mind, master your mind. When you start to master your mind and you talk back to that freaking little voice in your head and you tell it who's the boss, then that voice starts to quiet down to the point where it's non-existent. That's where you have to get in life. When you're afraid, don't listen to that voice. When you don't want to do something, don't listen to that voice. So your mind has a funny way of tricking you into doing something you don't want to do. You never have that freaking voice inside in your head telling you something that you do want to do. It's always something you don't want to do. I don't know if it's out of self-preservation or it's just you haven't, or we as humans haven't trained our minds that tough to where we let it know that we're in charge of our minds. that we control our own actions. And that fear is just a chemical reaction. And then you can bypass fear. And then you can get over fear. Like, I have it's not a personal fear, but it's a very strong dislike of roller coasters. I just don't like that feeling of my gut going up in my throat. And I kind of question, be like, yeah, that kind of looks retarded. I mean, I've done a lot of things. I've fucking rappelled. I've climbed up mountains. I've fucking rode in helicopters, military helicopters. I've ridden on Zodiacs. I've swam, 3,500 meters as a scout swimmer. I've hung upside down on a fucking mountain, tied to the rope. I've done some stuff. I've went into caves, but for some strange reason, roller coasters, even Ferris wheels, get me a little edgy. It's not that I'm afraid, it's that freaking feeling, the G-force. I've tried to get over it. Believe me, I've tried everything in my mind possibly, telling my mind to shut up, throwing my hands up, laughing, yelling, screaming. Still to this day. I'm about to go bungee jumping in August. For some people, you're like, I bungee jump, there ain't nothing to it. Yeah, but it's just jumping off that thing. You're tied to something. I mean, I've rappelled down the side of mountains. Cliff faces. Shit like that. All these things you need to get in your head that you need to go through. Like these tough and challenging times to be able to get the confidence inside you. Grow your inner strength. Allow that inner child to grow up. That little child voice to grow up into a man voice. To where you do what you say you're going to do. And if your little mind and your little voice in there starts to tell you otherwise, you tell it. You tell it something that it doesn't want to do. Like, hey, you don't want to run this fucking 5K, motherfucker? Fine. Let's go run a 10K at twice the fucking speed. Or I don't want to be in a calorie deficit because I know I'm going to be hungry. Well, you want to be fat, motherfucker? You want to be a loser all your fucking life? You have to get to the point in life where you're fucking fed up with your existence. And you need to change. And you gotta want to change. Not because someone tells you to change. But there's that catalyst. Something happens in your life that brings you to a fucking point in your life where, like, I don't want this to ever happen again. I do not want to go through this pain ever again. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that it does not happen. Not saying that it won't happen, but you can do at least everything in your power to make sure that it does not happen. And that if you ever get to that point, hey, you've been there before. But you're in a different place now. You're a different fucking person. Your mentality's different. And you can just move on a hell of a lot faster than just fucking sitting around and fucking crying or freaking self-sabotaging yourself and feeling depressed. Because you start to keep playing that over and over and over in your head. Like, I've noticed that when you go through something painful or some sort of event, that event is brief. It doesn't last more than a couple minutes. But we as humans, we allow it to play out for weeks, months, even years. When that event was done and gone, the damage had been done. I mean, that's adding fucking salt to a wound, or, you know, embarrassment to pain. Or what's that? I can't think of that saying. It'll come to me. But we keep that freaking suffering. Insult to injury, that's it. But we keep that freaking event alive inside our heads. We keep that moment. That brief moment. Flashed and gone. But we keep it alive. We sulk over it. We get depressed over it. We replay it in our minds. It's time to let that shit go. Move on. Get to a place of strength. To a place of power. Don't ever do anything out of a place of weakness. Make sure you're making the decisions from a place of strength. That way you don't have any regrets in life. As I've been on this journey, and as this journey continues, I keep finding more and more about myself, looking deeper and deeper, and looking over my past and being like, you know what, I got over that shit. And this is where I went wrong. But not this time, motherfucker. Not this time. This time's different. Because I'm coming from a source of power. A place of strength. And I've gotten stronger mentally and physically and spiritually and emotionally. You need hard times in your life. It builds your character. It builds the person that you are. I'm to the point where I'm happy that all those things happened to me. Had none of that happened to me, I would not have grown as a person. I would not be transforming into the man that I am about to transform into and continue to transform and just continue to get better. That's the ultimate sign that no one has any power over you. If you can go through these adverse times, come out on the other side better, stronger, and more resilient, those events and those people are nothing. They're meaningless in the grand scheme of things. Now, versus the times where you went off and did some stupid shit. Well, I'm going to show them. I'm going to do this. It's not about them. It's about you. It's about how the world can knock you down and you can get back up every single fucking time. What does Rocky say? No one hits harder than life, but it's not about how hard life hits you. It's about how you get up after life hits you, or something along that line. And that's true today. That'll be true tomorrow. It's what you do after the fact. And the sooner you realize that, the better off life will be for you. So get it in your head that the bad things in life happen for a reason. You can turn them into something positive and thank the Lord that you went through them. Because you got two choices in life. Stay where you're at or get better as a man. And the best way to get better as a man is to get off the couch. Start your journey from weakness to warrior mindset.